Yo, what's up, everyone? It's Divine Sense Boxing back in the building. It's good to see you guys, man. Thanks for dropping by. I just wanted to get this prediction video out real quickly before the fight starts. I know it's a little bit late, but I wanted to get it out there for the people that are able to catch it and give you guys my final breakdown / prediction of, you see it in the title, David Benavidez versus David Lemieux. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting fight, and I think it's going to be a fight that is going to keep people on the edge of their seat more than what a lot of people are giving this fight credit for. You know, I browse through YouTube, I go through the comments, I watch other people's videos. 90% of the people saying, oh, this is an easy fight for David Benavidez, right? David Lemieux, he has all these flaws, and Benavidez is too young, too strong, too much power, etc., etc. Well, I want to come on here and give you guys my opinion. And before I do that, I first want to give a real quick shout out to David Benavidez himself for putting Phoenix, Arizona on the map. That is exactly where I'm from. So I appreciate that we have quality fighters coming from the area trying to represent Phoenix. And I wanted to give David Benavidez a one-up and respect for that. And I hope he continues to perform well in his career representing Phoenix, Arizona. With that being said, I'm looking at this fight in a lot of different ways, and that's why I want to give you guys my perspective on it. Like I said, I think this is going to be a fight that is going to be very entertaining and very interesting and keep you on the edge of your seat more than you may expect. We have to go back in time a little bit when David Lemieux was in David Benavidez's shoes. He was, once upon a time, a prospect on the rise, fighting for a title eliminator against a guy named Marco Antonio Rubio, which was his title eliminator opportunity to fight for a belt. And in the early stages of that fight, he was winning the fight. I mean, he was beating up Rubio, right, to pillar to post. He was doing very, very well. And I can't remember what round it was exactly, maybe 6, 7, 8, where he started to gas out. He started to burn out because he was so used to knocking dudes out early. I mean, his KO ratio was like 95% at the time he fought Rubio. And Rubio, being the veteran, being the experienced fighter, was able to weather the storm and eventually stop David Lemieux. As a matter of fact, I believe he's the only fighter to really honestly hurt David Lemieux. Yes, Triple G beat him up pretty badly. There was a discrepancy in skills and experience for sure, and got the late round stoppage. But Marco Antonio Rubio is really the only guy to really hurt David Lemieux. And now we have the roles reversed, where David Benavidez is the guy coming up, the rising star, facing a guy who has fought against champions like Billy Joe Saunders and Triple G and has the experience. And he's the guy trying to say, nah, like, my time ain't done yet. I got to beat this young dude and prove to people that I still got it, right? So now the roles have reversed. And I believe that people are underestimating David Lemieux's experience and what he has done in the sport and the guys that he has fought. Some of them he's won, and some of them he has lost, right? And there's a few things that I'm expecting David Benavidez to prove to me. One is, he's got to prove to me at some point in the fight, because it will happen, and I promise you it will happen, where he's going to have to take a big shot in this fight. There's just no way possible that he's going to go an entire fight with David Lemieux, one of the best punchers in the division for the past 10-plus years, and not have to take some type of big shot in this fight. He's going to have to prove it. He's going to prove to me, he's got to prove to me that he can take it, he can weather the storm, and he can do better than what David Lemieux did when he fought Marco Antonio Rubio. Right? And so he's got to prove his chin, and he's got to prove that he can weather the storm. And I do believe that if the fight goes past 7, 8 rounds, I think that David Lemieux starts to get into trouble. And that is because he's notoriously had engine problems, endurance problems, stamina problems. He tends to load up with big punches early. And unfortunately, in this fight, he doesn't really have much of a choice. Because David Lemieux is not a Billy Joe Saunders, and he's going to go in there and try to box and, outbox you for 12 rounds and try to get a decision. He really is a guy that punches, and he knows that's his strength. And so he's got to go out there and try to get David Benavidez out of there early. And if that doesn't happen, then I just see this fight falling apart for him. And that's more or less where my prediction falls into place. I believe that David Lemieux will turn some heads, make this fight interesting, and I think he will put some big punches on David Benavidez. If Benavidez is able to take it, then that's all she wrote, in my opinion. But ultimately, man, if I were to make a final prediction, which I'm about to give you, or if I'm going to bet money on this fight, I got David Benavidez weathering the storm, proving that he is not going to make the same mistakes that David Lemieux made when David Lemieux was his age, becoming a rising star, and overcome the adversity and eventually stop David Lemieux in the later rounds. I would probably say around 9 or 10. I think that's where David Lemieux starts to really break down. David Benavidez will continue to rip to the body, rip to the head, make it uncomfortable for him. He doesn't do well going backwards. I'm talking about David Lemieux. He doesn't do well on the back foot. He doesn't always defend the best when he's under a lot of pressure. And so I just feel like eventually, if David Benavidez is able to weather the storm, he will get the late round stoppage. And I wouldn't be too surprised necessarily if it does go 12 and, David Lemieux, being a veteran, figures out a way to survive the fight just enough to just survive it, right? But ultimately, he's going to lose this fight if it goes past 7 rounds, in my opinion. But David Lemieux is a real live threat early. And I promise you, and do not be shocked, and I'll be waiting for you here on the channel, if David Lemieux pulls off an upset and gets a 4th, 5th round knockout, make sure you come by here and say, yo, Divine, like, you predicted Benavidez to win, but you did mention that David Lemieux is a real live threat, and you called it, man. So either way, I don't feel like I lose in my prediction in this fight. I feel like if David Benavidez gets the late stoppage, which, like I said, I'm about 60 to 65% leaning towards that way, which will be my official prediction. But if David Lemieux surprises people and gets the knockout early, I'm not surprised at all. I'm really not. David Lemieux has been in there with some of the best fighters at 160, 168. He does have a lot of experience. He's learned a lot. And this is kind of like the last dance for him, and he knows this. And he knows that if he doesn't perform well, his career's basically over. Like, I don't see him coming out of this if he doesn't perform well. So a lot at stake. This may be one of the last times we see David Lemieux on a big card, and we'll see what happens, man. But that's my prediction, man. I appreciate everyone stopping by, man. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Stay a part of the conversation. I will be going live during the fight, so make sure that you set your calendars, hit the reminder button, and make sure you tune in when I go live to commentate, to give you live scorecards, and also, of course, the post-fight thoughts, man. Y'all stay up, be easy, be safe, be positive out there. It's your boy Divine. I'll be back with another one soon. Peace.